Part 1. The impossible assignment. The desert sun was setting behind the mountains when Dr. James walked into the most secure building he had ever seen. The place looked like something from a movie. Tall walls, guards everywhere, and machines that beeped and hummed all day long. He had been driving for hours to get to this secret place in the middle of nowhere. James was 34 years old and had spent most of his life studying strange creatures and helping people with their problems. He was good at understanding others, even when they couldn't speak the same language. But nothing had prepared him for what he was about to face. The woman in charge, Dr. Lisa, met him at the entrance. She looked tired, like someone who hadn't slept well in months. Her eyes had dark circles under them, and she kept checking her watch as if she was running out of time. "Thank you for coming so quickly," she said, shaking his hand. "I hope you understand how serious this situation is. We've tried everything, and nothing works." They walked through long hallways with bright white lights. The walls were thick, and James could hear strange sounds echoing from somewhere deep inside the building. It felt cold and unwelcoming, like a hospital, but much scarier. "Tell me again what happened," James said as they walked. He wanted to understand exactly what he was getting into. Dr. Lisa stopped walking and turned to face him. 3 years ago, something crashed in the desert about 50 miles from here. At first, we thought it was just another piece of space junk. But when our team got there, they found something impossible. She pulled out a tablet and showed him pictures. James couldn't believe what he was seeing. The crashed object looked like no airplane or rocket he had ever seen. It was made of materials that seemed to shine with their own light, and the shape was completely alien. Inside, we found her. Dr. Lisa continued. "She's not human. She's not from Earth. She's something we never thought we would see in our lifetime." They started walking again, going deeper into the building. James noticed that the hallways became more and more secure as they went. There were more guards, more locked doors, and more cameras watching their every move. "What do you mean when you say she's difficult?" James asked. Dr. Lisa laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. "Difficult is putting it nicely. In the past 3 years, she has broken equipment worth millions of dollars. She has hurt 17 of our best people. She refuses to eat the food we give her. She won't communicate with anyone. She just sits there, angry all the time." They reached a heavy door with a small window. Dr. Lisa gestured for James to look through it. "See for yourself." James looked through the thick glass and felt his breath catch in his throat. Inside was a room that looked more like a prison cell than anything else. The walls were white and bare. There were no windows, no decorations, nothing that would make it feel like home. And in the corner sat the most beautiful and terrifying being he had ever seen. She looked like a woman, but her skin had a silver color that seemed to move and change, like water. Her hair was long and seemed to float around her head as if she was underwater. Her eyes glowed with a soft blue light that made James think of the ocean at night. But what struck him most was how sad she looked. She was sitting with her knees pulled up to her chest, rocking back and forth slowly. She reminded James of the scared children he used to help in his old job. "She does that all day," Dr. Lisa whispered. "Just sits there, rocking. Sometimes she screams, but we can't understand what she's saying. Sometimes she gets so angry that the lights in the whole building flicker." James watched the alien woman for a few more minutes. Something about her made him feel sorry for her, not afraid. What happened to the other people who tried to work with her? 12 specialists have tried. The first few quit after she hurt them. The others asked to be moved to different projects. They all said the same thing. She's impossible to deal with. She's spoiled and mean and doesn't want to cooperate. Dr. Lisa closed the tablet and looked directly at James. "That's why we called you. You have a reputation for helping difficult cases. You've worked with people that others gave up on." They walked to her office, which was filled with papers and coffee cups. Dr. Lisa sat down heavily in her chair and rubbed her temples. "I'm going to be honest with you, James. The people who pay for this project are getting impatient. They want results. They want to know about her technology, her planet, her people. They want to know if she's dangerous to humanity. James sat down across from her. And if I can't make progress? Dr. Lisa's face became very serious. If you can't make progress in 6 months, they're going to end this project. They'll hand her over to the military, and I don't think I need to tell you what that means. James felt a chill run down his spine. He thought about the scared, lonely being he had just seen through the window. The idea of her being treated like a weapon instead of a person made him feel sick. What makes you think I can succeed where 12 others have failed? Because you see people differently, Dr. Lisa said. I've read your files. You've helped children who couldn't speak. You've worked with adults who had been hurt so badly they couldn't trust anyone. Maybe that's what she needs, someone who doesn't see her as an alien, but as someone who needs help. James was quiet for a long moment. He thought about his career, his reputation, and what this could mean for his future. But mostly, he thought about the woman in that cold, empty room. I'll need to do things my way. He finally said, no more tests without her permission. No more treating her like a laboratory animal. If I'm going to help her, she needs to be treated with respect. Dr. Lisa nodded quickly. Whatever you need, just please make this work. For all our sakes. That night, James sat in his temporary apartment and read through all the files about the alien woman. The reports painted a picture of someone who was violent and uncooperative. But James had learned long ago that there were always two sides to every story. He looked at the pictures again, her silver skin, her glowing eyes, her posture of someone who had given up hope. Tomorrow, he would meet her face to face. Tomorrow, he would try to do what 12 others couldn't. He didn't know it yet, but this assignment would change both of their lives forever. The woman they called spoiled and impossible was about to teach him the most important lesson of his career, and he was about to show her that not all humans were the same. The real challenge wasn't taming an alien. The real challenge was learning to see past fear and find understanding, and that was something James had always been good at, even when others thought it was impossible. Part 2. Breaking through walls. First morning, James walked slowly toward the alien woman's room. His heart was beating fast, but he kept his steps calm and steady. Through the thick glass window, he could see her in the same position as yesterday, sitting in the corner, arms wrapped around her knees, rocking back and forth. The other scientists were watching him from the observation room next door. James could feel their eyes on him, waiting to see what his big plan was. Dr. Lisa had given him permission to try anything, but that didn't mean the others believed in his methods. Instead of entering her room right away, James did something that surprised everyone. He sat down on the floor outside her door. He pulled out a book from his bag and opened it to the first page. What is he doing? One of the younger scientists whispered loudly enough for James to hear. James ignored them and began reading aloud. It was a simple story about a girl who got lost in a forest and had to find her way home. His voice was gentle and calm, like a father reading to his child before bed. At first, the alien woman didn't seem to notice. She kept rocking, her silver skin flickering with red colors that James had learned meant anger or fear. But after about 20 minutes, something changed. The rocking slowed down just a little bit. This is ridiculous, Dr. Peterson said from behind the glass. She's not a child. She's a dangerous alien being. We should be running tests, not reading her bedtime stories. But James kept reading. He came back the next day and did the same thing, and the day after that, each day, he sat outside her room and read for exactly 1 hour. Sometimes he read adventure stories. Sometimes he read about science or nature. He always kept his voice calm and friendly. On the 4th day, something amazing happened. When James started reading, the alien woman lifted her head and looked at him through the glass. Her glowing blue eyes met his for just a moment before she looked away. But it was progress. The other scientists were getting impatient. He's been doing this for a week. Dr. Peterson complained to Dr. Lisa. Nothing is happening. She's still not talking. She's still not cooperating with any tests. But James noticed things the others didn't see. The angry red colors in her skin were appearing less often. Sometimes, when he read funny parts of stories, the colors would shift to a soft, purple that seemed almost curious. She was listening, even if she didn't want to show it. After 2 weeks, James decided to try something different. Instead of books, he brought his guitar. Music had always been important to him, and he thought it might work better than words. He sat in his usual spot and began to play a soft, sad song he had written years ago. It was about feeling lonely and far from home. As the gentle notes filled the hallway, something incredible happened. The alien woman stood up. She moved slowly toward the glass wall that separated them. Her silver skin was now showing colors James had never seen before, soft blues and gentle greens that seemed to flow like water. She placed her hand against the glass, right where James was sitting on the other side. "Did you see that?" whispered one of the watching scientists. "She's never approached the barrier before." James kept playing, trying not to show how excited he was. For the first time in 3 years, she had chosen to come closer to a human. When he finished the song, she stayed there for a moment, looking at him with those bright blue eyes. Then she slowly walked back to her corner. But the next day, she was waiting by the glass when James arrived. This became their routine. James would sit outside her room, sometimes reading, sometimes playing music, sometimes just talking about his day. The alien woman would sit on the other side of the glass, listening. She never made a sound, but her skin colors became more and more peaceful. The real breakthrough came 3 weeks later. James was telling her about his childhood pet, a dog named Charlie, who used to follow him everywhere. As he talked, he absently reached for his water bottle and knocked it over. The bottle broke on the floor, and a sharp piece of glass cut his hand. "Ouch," James said, looking at the blood on his palm. It wasn't a serious cut, but it stung. Suddenly, the alien woman jumped to her feet. Her skin flashed bright yellow, a color James had never seen before. She pressed both hands against the glass wall and made soft sounds that were almost like words. Her whole body seemed to glow with a warm, golden light. James looked at his hand, then at her. She was trying to help him, even through the thick barrier between them. He could feel warmth coming from her direction. The cut on his hand started to feel better, though it was probably just his imagination. "It's okay," James said softly, showing her his hand. "See, it's not bad. Thank you for caring." The yellow glow in her skin slowly faded to a gentle blue. She kept her hands on the glass, looking worried. This was the first time she had shown concern for any human being. From the observation room, Dr. Lisa watched in amazement. In 3 years, she's never shown any emotion except anger and fear. But look at her now. Over the next few days, everything changed. The alien woman began responding to James in small ways. When he arrived each morning, she would move to the glass wall immediately. When he played sad songs, her skin would show sympathetic colors. When he told funny stories, lighter, brighter colors would dance across her silver surface. James started to understand that her skin colors were like emotions made visible. Red meant fear or anger. Blue meant sadness or calm. Yellow meant worry or excitement. Purple seemed to be curiosity, and the gentle greens appeared when she was content. "She's not violent," James told Dr. Lisa during one of their meetings. "She's scared. Think about it. She crashed on a strange planet, got locked in a white room, and has been poked and prodded by strangers for 3 years. Anyone would be angry in that situation." Dr. Lisa looked at the security footage from the past month. The alien woman's behavior had completely changed. No more screaming. No more throwing things. No more making the lights flicker with whatever power she had. "The board is asking for a report," Dr. Lisa said. "They want to know if you're making real progress." James thought about the small moments, the way she now watched him with curiosity, instead of fear, how she had tried to help. When he was hurt, the peaceful colors that had replaced the angry reds in her skin. "I think she's starting to trust me," he said. "But trust takes time. You can't rush it." What James didn't know was that the alien woman was beginning to understand him too. Through some ability he didn't yet comprehend, she was learning to sense his emotions the same way he was learning to read her colors. She could feel his kindness, his patience, his genuine desire to help her. For the first time since crashing on this strange world, she didn't feel completely alone. The human with the gentle voice and sad music was different from the others. He saw her as more than just something to study. As the weeks passed, both of them were changing. James was learning that communication didn't always need words, and the alien woman was discovering that maybe, just maybe, not all humans were the same. The walls between them were starting to crack, and something beautiful was beginning to grow in the space between two very different worlds. 2 months had passed since James first sat outside the alien woman's room. What started as simple reading sessions had grown into something neither of them expected. The breakthrough came on a Tuesday morning when James was telling her about his grandmother's garden. As he described the colorful flowers and buzzing bees. Something strange happened. James felt a warm sensation in his mind, like someone gently touching his thoughts. Suddenly, he could see images, not with his eyes, but inside his head. He saw a place with crystal trees that sang in the wind and flowers that glowed like stars. The alien woman was sitting very still, her skin showing soft silver and blue colors. Her eyes were closed, and James realized she was somehow sharing her memories with him. He was seeing her home planet. "That's beautiful," James whispered, and the images became clearer. He saw cities that floated in the sky, beings like her moving gracefully through gardens of light, and waterfalls that flowed upward instead of down. But then the images changed. James felt overwhelming sadness as he saw the woman running through dark corridors. Someone was chasing her, tall figures in black robes who moved like shadows. She was afraid, desperately trying to escape something terrible. The connection broke suddenly, leaving James feeling dizzy and confused. The alien woman had backed away from the glass, her skin flashing nervous yellow colors. She looked scared, as if she hadn't meant to share so much. "It's okay," James said softly. "Thank you for showing me. Your world looks amazing." Over the next few days, these mental connections happened more often. James learned that her name was something like a musical note that he couldn't pronounce. So he started calling her Luna because her skin reminded him of moonlight. She seemed to like the name. Her colors would brighten whenever he said it. Through their strange conversations without words, James discovered Luna's real story. She wasn't some space invader or scout for an alien army. She was running away from her own people, escaping an arranged marriage to someone cruel and powerful. Her spaceship had been damaged during her escape, causing her to crash on Earth. "You're a refugee," James said one day, and Luna's skin showed colors of deep sadness. "You just wanted to be free." James shared his own memories too. He showed her his childhood, his love for music, his years helping troubled children find hope again. Luna watched these mental pictures with wonder, her skin glowing with warm golden colors. But their growing friendship was making other people nervous. Dr. Peterson complained loudly during staff meetings about James spending too much time playing games instead of doing real science. The military advisors wanted to know why there were no weapons designs or star maps being produced. "What exactly are you learning from all this bonding?" General Hayes asked during a video conference. "We need tactical information, not alien friendship stories." James tried to explain that Luna had knowledge that could help humanity, clean energy, medical advances, technologies beyond their dreams. But she would only share these things if she felt safe and trusted the people around her. "She's not going to give us anything if we treat her like a prisoner," James argued. "She's been hurt before. She needs to know we're different from the people she ran away from." Dr. Lisa supported James, but the pressure from above was growing stronger every day. The project was expensive, and the bosses wanted results they could understand: weapons, technology, or at least information about potential threats from space. Meanwhile, James and Luna's connection was growing deeper. She began teaching him about her people's abilities, how they could sense emotions, share thoughts, and even influence energy around them. James discovered he had a natural talent for this kind of communication, something very rare among humans. One evening, as James played his guitar outside her room, Luna did something incredible. She began to hum along with the music. Her voice was unlike anything James had ever heard. It sounded like wind chimes, mixed with whale songs, beautiful and haunting at the same time. "You have a lovely voice," James said, and Luna's skin glowed with happy pink colors he'd never seen before. But their peaceful progress was about to be shattered. Unknown to James, security cameras had been recording everything, including their mental connections. The footage was being analyzed by experts who didn't understand what they were seeing to them. It looked like Luna was controlling James's mind, making him believe she was innocent when she might actually be dangerous. They saw his growing attachment to her as evidence that she was manipulating him for her own purposes. "He's been compromised," Dr. Peterson told Dr. Lisa. "Look at these brain scans. His neural activity is completely different from when he started. She's done something to him." The truth was that James is changing, but in a good way. Luna's influence was making him more empathetic, more aware of the emotions around him. But to outsiders, it looked like alien mind control. As James and Luna continued to share their worlds with each other, neither of them knew that powerful people were making plans to end their friends. Hip forever, the connection that was healing. Both of them was being seen as a threat that needed to be stopped. The morning everything fell apart started like any other. James arrived at the facility with his guitar and a new book to share with Luna. But when he reached her hallway, he found it blocked by security guards. "I'm sorry, Dr. James," one of the guards said. "You're not allowed in this section anymore." James felt his heart sink. "What do you mean? I have clearance. Dr. Lisa approved everything I'm doing. Orders came from above." The guard replied, "You need to report to the main office immediately." As James walked through the hallways, he noticed people staring at him strangely. Whispered conversations stopped when he passed by. Something was very wrong. In Dr. Lisa's office, he found her sitting with 3 men in military uniforms and 2 women in expensive suits. Their faces were serious, and James knew this wasn't going to be a friendly meeting. "Please sit down, Doctor," Lisa said, but her voice sounded tired and defeated. General Hayes, the man James recognized from video calls, spoke first. "Dr. James, we've been reviewing your work with the alien subject. We have some serious concerns." One of the women opened a tablet and showed James video footage of himself sitting outside Luna's room, but the way it was edited made everything look suspicious. They had cut out the peaceful moments and focused on times when Luna's skin showed bright colors or when James looked dazed after their mental connections. "This footage suggests you've been compromised," the woman said. "Your behavior patterns have changed dramatically since you started working with the subject. Your brain scans show unusual activity." James tried to explain. "Those changes are normal. When you communicate with Luna, it expands your ability to sense emotions. It's not mind control. It's like learning a new language." But they weren't listening. General Hayes leaned forward. "In the past month, there have been 3 security breaches at this facility. Each time, cameras malfunctioned in sections near the alien cell. We believe she's using some kind of psychic influence to gather intelligence." "That's not true," James said, feeling desperate. "Luna isn't spying on anyone. She's scared and homesick. Those power fluctuations happen when she's upset." The second woman spoke up. "Dr. James, we've also discovered that classified information about this project has appeared on several conspiracy websites. Someone has been leaking details about our work here." James was shocked. He would never betray Luna or the project. "I haven't told anyone anything. I signed all the secrecy agreements, maybe not consciously," Dr. Lisa said quietly. "But if she can read your thoughts, she might be taking information without you knowing it." The room felt like it was spinning. James realized they had already made up their minds about him and Luna. Nothing he said would change their opinion. "General." Hayes stood up. "Effective immediately. You're suspended from this project. You'll undergo medical evaluation to determine the extent of any alien influence on your mind." "What about Luna?" James asked, though he was afraid of the answer. "The alien will be transferred to a more secure facility, where proper interrogation techniques can be applied," one of the military men said coldly. James felt sick. "You can't do that to her." She's not a threat. She's just lost and far from home. That's exactly what someone under alien influence would say, the woman with the tablet replied. As security guards escorted James from the building, he could hear Luna's distressed cries echoing through the hallways. Her psychic distress was so strong that lights flickered throughout the facility, and several staff members complained of sudden headaches. For the next week, James was kept in a medical facility where doctors ran countless tests on his brain. They found changes in his neural patterns, but nothing that suggested mind control. The changes were more like what happens when someone learns a new skill or language. Meanwhile, Luna's condition at the main facility was getting worse. Without James's calming presence, she had retreated into herself completely. She wouldn't eat, wouldn't respond to anyone, and her skin had turned a dull gray color that worried even the scientists, who didn't care about her well-being. The new interrogation methods were harsh. Instead of James's gentle approach, military specialists tried to force information from Luna using stress techniques and intimidation. But this only made her withdraw further. Dr. Peterson, who had never liked James's methods, was put in charge of Luna's case. He believed that firm discipline was what she needed, not the coddling that James had provided. She's been manipulating us all along, Dr. Peterson told his team. The previous approach was too soft. We need to show her that we're in control here. But Luna wasn't responding to their demands. Instead, her health was failing rapidly. Her silver skin became pale and dim. Her glowing eyes lost their brightness. She stopped moving around her cell and just lay curled up in the corner. The facility's equipment began malfunctioning more frequently. Computers crashed without explanation. The building's power grid became unstable. Even the local weather seemed to be affected, with strange electromagnetic storms appearing over the desert. After 10 days of this, Dr. Lisa realized they had made a terrible mistake. Luna wasn't getting better under the new treatment. She was dying, and her deteriorating condition was somehow affecting everything around her. We need James back, she told General Hayes during an emergency meeting. Whatever was happening between them, it was keeping her stable. Without him, she's shutting down completely. General Hayes was reluctant. He could still be compromised. Bringing him back might give her exactly what she wants. If she dies, we lose everything, Dr. Lisa argued. 3 years of work, millions of dollars, and possibly the only chance we'll ever have to communicate with an alien species. Finally, facing the possibility of losing Luna entirely, they agreed to bring James back. But it might already be too late. Luna had been without human kindness for too long, and her will to live was fading fast. When James finally returned to the facility, he was horrified by what he found. Luna was lying motionless in her cell, her once beautiful silver skin now gray and lifeless. Her eyes, which used to glow like stars, were barely flickering. "What have you done to her?" James whispered, pressing his hands against the glass barrier. Dr. Lisa stood beside him, looking ashamed. The new methods weren't working. She stopped eating a week ago. She won't respond to anyone or anything. James could feel Luna's life force fading away. Through their connection, he sensed her despair and hopelessness. She had given up, believing that all humans were the same, cold, uncaring, and cruel. "I need to go in there," James said. "That's not possible," Dr. Peterson interrupted. "She's too dangerous in this state. Her psychic abilities are unstable." But Dr. Lisa overruled him. "Open the cell. If we don't try something drastic, she'll be dead by morning anyway." The energy barrier that had separated James and Luna for months was finally lowered. James stepped into her cell for the first time, moving slowly so he wouldn't frighten her. "Luna," he said softly, kneeling beside her still form. "I'm here. I'm sorry I left you." For a moment, nothing happened. Then, very faintly, a small patch of blue color appeared on Luna's skin. She was still alive, but just barely. James placed his hand gently on her arm, and immediately he was flooded with her emotions: pain, loneliness, betrayal, and overwhelming sadness. She had thought he had abandoned her like everyone else in her life. "I never wanted to leave," James whispered. They made me go away, but I fought to come back to you. Through their mental connection, James shared his own experiences of the past weeks, his worry for her, his arguments with the officials, his desperate attempts to return to her side. Luna's skin began to show faint silver colors as she realized he hadn't chosen to abandon her, but she was too weak to recover on her own. Her life force was fading, and James could feel her slipping away. In that moment, he made a decision that would change both of their lives forever. Instead of just communicating with Luna, James opened his mind completely to her. He shared not just his thoughts, but his actual life energy. It was incredibly dangerous. He could die from the strain, or they could both be lost in the connection. The moment their minds fully merged, something extraordinary happened. James felt Luna's incredible knowledge and wisdom flowing into him, while his human strength and determination flowed into her. They became two parts of one consciousness, supporting each other across the gap between their species. The scientists watching from outside the cells saw both James and Luna begin to glow with a soft, warm light. The facility's power fluctuations stopped. The electromagnetic storms over the desert cleared. Everything became calm and peaceful. When the light faded, both James and Luna were changed forever. James found he could sense emotions and energy, patterns the way Luna could. Luna had gained some of James's human resilience and hope. They were still separate beings, but they now carried part of each other within themselves. Luna sat up slowly, her skin showing healthy silver colors with hints of gold. Her eyes were bright again, but now they held a new understanding of humanity. She looked at James with gratitude and something deeper, a connection that went beyond friendship, or even family. "Thank you," she said, speaking in English for the first time. Her voice was soft and musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. The transformation amazed everyone watching. Luna was not only alive and healthy again, but she was willing to cooperate in ways she never had before. She began sharing knowledge about clean energy, advanced medicine, and technologies that could help solve many of Earth's problems. But she made it clear that this knowledge came with conditions. Humans had to prove they could be trusted with such power. They had to show they wouldn't use her gifts to hurt others or destroy their own planet. "My people judge species by how they treat those who are different," Luna explained to the gathered scientists. "James showed me that humans can choose kindness over fear. But not all of you have made that choice yet." Over the following months, Luna worked with carefully selected teams to develop new technologies. James became the bridge between her and humanity, helping to translate not just her words but her concepts and ideas. The most shocking outcome wasn't the advanced technology or the proof that humans weren't alone in the universe. It was the realization that the woman they had called spoiled and impossible was actually wiser and more compassionate than most humans. Luna had never been spoiled or difficult. She had been a refugee, scared and traumatized, responding the only way she knew how to protect herself. When treated with genuine kindness and respect, she became humanity's greatest teacher. 6 months later, Luna's ship was repaired using a combination of her technology and human engineering. She could finally return home, but she wasn't the same frightened princess who had fled her world. She now carried within her the memory of human kindness and the strength she had learned from James. At her departure, Luna made a promise that changed everything for humanity. "I will tell my people about James and others like him. Earth will be marked as a world with potential for wisdom and growth. When you are ready, we will return, not as conquerors, but as friends." James watched her ship disappear into the stars, knowing that his life had been forever changed by knowing her. He established the first center for interspecies communication, teaching others the methods that had worked with Luna: patience, respect, and genuine care for beings different from themselves. The real shock was never that Luna had been tamed or controlled. The shock was that she had taught humanity its most valuable lesson. That true strength comes not from conquering those who are different, but from learning to understand and care for them. Years later, when other alien visitors arrived at Earth, they were greeted not with weapons or fear, But with the protocols that James and Luna had developed together, humanity had learned that the greatest discoveries come not from taking what we want from others, but from building bridges of understanding across the vast distances between different worlds and different hearts. And somewhere among the stars, Luna continued her own journey, carrying with her the proof that even the most impossible connections can become the most beautiful friendships when approached with an open heart and genuine care.